Hey guys, Doc, what are we talking about today? Today we're going to talk about watering, and I'm going to talk about survival watering. Not just regular watering, but watering patterns when you get into a drought or you get into a sparse, not even a drought, but a sparse period where you're just not getting that rain. What should you do? Should you water heavy? Should you water light? There's a bunch of stuff out there that may lead you in the wrong direction. And what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to tell you what I've done for years and been successful and never had an issue with my lawn. But I'm also going to carry it over and talk about the gardens and the new orchard over here in a few minutes. And the same thing, we're spoon feeding. And the key that I want you to understand when you enter into these periods where you have very little water is you want to go into survival mode. Survival mode. And that's just enough water every day just to get that plant to be a little bit healthy. So here we go, hold on. We're talking about watering and watering schedules. Everything that you're going to read online is going to tell you you're better off to water less often and water longer. Yes, I agree. It pushes the water deeper into the soil, gets it down to the roots, and makes the roots technically grow deeper, even though you really can't move the water that deep. That's the main thing. So maybe twice a week, do a heavy watering. What's a heavy watering? Well, I don't know. You have to figure that out for yourself on your stations. But I will tell you that infiltration rates play a big role in this. What do I mean by infiltration rate? How quickly does water get down in your soil? So if you have a really hard clay soil, the infiltration rate more than likely is probably pretty poor. So if you can run, if you set a station to run for 20 minutes, you may start to get some runoff. That's why a lot of your sprinkler systems, now I run a Ratio 3, the next generation, on all my units, will have I forget the name of it, but basically it's a skip. It breaks it apart. So instead of running it for 20 minutes, it'll run it for 10, and then it'll come back around later and finish that 20. I'll have to look that up. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen. But that's a really unique feature on that system and most systems where it'll actually break up your run and it'll take into account your poor infiltration rate. Now, let's talk about drought watering. And I'm talking about drought watering because we're not in a drought, but we're really dry. We need rain. Our soils up in our fields, everything are super, super dry. And I've said this before, if you enter into a drought period, I do spoon feeding waterings. And I've done this for years and it works really well. What I do is I get into a hot, dry period. I will come out and first thing in the morning, I'll do a short run. So I will come out to a main station and run the main station for 6 to 7 minutes. Then I will come out and right about as soon as, depending on the legal watering schedules, maybe like at 2 or 3 or 4, I'll actually come out and give it another short water cycle. And I'll do that every single day. Now that spoon feeding of the grass is enough. It's not enough to drive the water down, but what it is it's enough to keep that grass alive and healthy. And I have done that for years, and I have the only green lawn in my neighborhood. Every other lawn is brown. So instead of trying to combat the super dry soil and get the water down in, you do a spoon feeding. Now you can also do a combination of both. You can also say, okay, once a week I'm gonna go ahead and do a deep cycle, and then the rest of the days I'm doing a morning short cycle. But just like we're doing up on our gardens up here, we don't have our irrigation system in yet. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually filling my redneck water system in the back of my UTV, and I'm going up to each individual plant, giving each individual plant a drink of water, and the garden's super healthy. Okay, so this is our 7,000 square foot Garden of Eden. I need to name it. I don't know what I'm going to name it, but it's just massive. We're real heavy in tomatoes because everyone we know wants tomatoes. So I got a ton of tomatoes growing. But look at these plants in here. Look how gorgeous they are. Is that just absolutely beautiful or what? Man, absolutely gorgeous. Tomatoes, peppers, the zucchini. I'll show you the zucchini and squash. But I want you to look at this. So this is a row that I haven't been watering. And I want you to look at how dry this is. So that's the upper. There's a little bit of moisture once you get down low, but these plants, just like your grass, you know, the sun pounds down. Even though it's not 100, it's just in the 80s. The sun's pounding down. There's been no moisture. There's been no rain. And in the afternoon, they're going to start to stress out. They're going to start to wilt. And it's just like a house plant. What do? If you have a house plant or a plant on your deck and that plant is wilting, you give that thing a little bit of water, and what happens? Within an hour, that thing perks back up. Same thing on your plants, your gardens, and your lawn. That little drink really helps them survive. I allow nature to do my deep watering. Make that point again. I like to allow nature to do my deep watering. What I'm doing is a survival watering to the point where, okay, it's really getting dry out here. My lawn needs a little bit of moisture, or my vegetables needs a little bit. So this is just survival mode. Look at these. This is kind of shocking to me. Now, we don't use any fertilizers in our gardens. We only use dirt booster. There is a video up called Bullshit, where I talk about our super compost that we make for this. Well, we put it into the soil and we put it in the compost. But look at the size of these things. Is that crazy or what? And these things are just huge. So the rule of thumb that you're going to hear whenever you hear sprinkler head placement is that every sprinkler head should overlap. And I'm saying that's not right. You have to think about the size of the slice. That's what I'll talk about today. I'm just out here running around. I'm sorry if this is a bad part of the video, but you have to understand that some sprinkler heads only have a small little slice of area to work. And so that slice is going to get more water, especially if the other heads overlap that piece over there too. So what I do is I look for areas like this big area back here that this head and that head have to cover a huge area, and it's going to get fewer passes. Got it? So this head has got to cover way over here, and it's got to go way all the way back, whereas that one in the corner is just going ching, 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 ching. So I don't need this head to overlap that. That area is going to get a lot more water and a lot more passes than this one will. Got it? That's the whole concept I'm trying to get into you, is making sure that you think about the slice of that pie and adjust your patterns to say, okay, this area is getting a lot of water because that's just got a little slice. This one is having to go all the way back, all the way forward, and this area is not getting as much water. It's starting to get warm out here already. I think they said, when I looked at the 10-day, I think they said Sunday was going to be 90 degrees. So this is that experimental lawn where we've got all kinds of seed. We had started with annual ryegrass, put down some kind of rye or something. Anyways, we put down SPF 30 blue, and then we put down Combat Extreme, which is a mix of fescues. And unbelievably, this nasty clay soil looks fantastic right now. I'm cutting it short because I have irrigation that'll allow me to do it. I can spoon feed the water. But you can see where I'm cutting it. Yeah, I'm right there. That's beautiful right there. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Can't complain. You know, I'm planning on doing a zoysia seeding back here. I don't know if zoysia is going to break through that. That's just so thick and wonderful, man. It's awesome. All right, let's cut this bumpy thing. Trying to get all this done early. I don't even know what time it is. Let's see here. It's almost noon, and I'm getting all this done before noon. But this lawn, now that I have irrigation, it's just crazy. It is so nice. I don't know what's worse, the dog shit or the magnolia leaves. I mean, every day. But, there's no dog shit here, I hope. Oh man, that just looks so good, doesn't it? That is so nice. I'm so happy with that right now. I mean, I remember being out here on a skid steer, just tearing this nasty red white clay up and just thinking to myself, you know, maybe I'll get something to grow to hold it in place. And here I am. The only thing I've done really is Humichar, Dirt Booster, PGF Complete. Those are the three things I've put on this, from raw dirt to this. And there was never a yard here, folks. There was nothing. It was nasty. And here I am today. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. So thankfully, when I look at my 10-day forecast, I have 3 days of rain coming up with a 50% chance, because I'm so tired of watering, man. But understand the difference between a regular cycle water and drought watering. You're like 2 weeks and you haven't gotten any rain. You're like, oh man, my water bill is going to be through the roof. Use that short water cycle. It'll reduce the amount of water you're using, and you'll get through that period, keep your grass alive, then return to a normal cycle where you're watering only when your lawn needs it. You know, activate your rain skip, you know, 1 inch of water per week type thing. Let me take you over here real quick. I want to show you some other projects. So I'm putting some seed back down over here. I'm doing 3 different seeds behind the fence. I've got Bermuda seed out by the roadway. That's almost a 1/4 mile long road frontage that I'm putting Bermuda on up there. Down over here, let me show you what we got going on over here. So we're getting ready to, once we get this house thing wrapped up, we're getting ready to head down to the beach house for a little while, and I'm going to take you down there. The zoysia lawn down there really looks like crap. It looks bad. It needs a doctor. The doctor's going to go down, and he's going to diagnose what's wrong with that zoysia lawn down there, and I'll walk you through the process of, I had the nicest lawn down there in the whole area to now it looks kind of eh. But over in here, when we get back from there, I plan to sort of landscape this whole area. I'm going to bring in some dirt. I'll bring in a skid steer. I want to do all this, and I don't know, but I'm planting some kind of grass in here. We think we're going to put a little gravel walkway down here, maybe a fire pit. That'll be really cool. But the pond berm, let's talk about the pond berm. So obviously I don't have irrigation on the pond berm, so I'm thinking about what kind of grass I want on that pond berm. Go ahead and drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think. But I'm thinking I might put centipede down there. So I ordered a bag of centipede grass, and I'm thinking about putting it on the pond berm. Only because centipede is very slow growing, it's low maintenance, it's pretty drought tolerant, heat tolerant, and I think it might work well in that pond berm. Right now, I'm going to show you some winter rye and what happens to winter rye when that heat and the drought comes in. It's actually kind of cool. So let's go over here and let's take a look. Here's the pond berm, and almost everything you see here is just about annual ryegrass. Now there is some clover in here as well too. So I cut this. You may have seen, I did a stupid video about Ego versus 24-inch tall grass, and I'm actually using my electric Ego to cut this pond berm down. And as soon as this rain comes in, I may throw down that centipede seed here. But this is annual rye, but look at this. Isn't that cool? Now that's annual ryegrass that you put on your lawn if you do an overseeding, and that's almost 4 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet tall. It just looks so cool back there. It's the coolest looking stuff. The deer bed down in there. It's just really cool looking. But this is the same thing, but cut here. And look at these burnout spots. As soon as that heat and dryness comes in, man, it just dies out. So I need something that can take, because this right here, this is a rock. You know, it's red clay soil, and you dry it out, it turns into pottery basically. I did buy some aquatic grasses like manna and a few other grasses, and sprinkle that seed right along the pond edge, because we want to keep that sort of living biology inside the pond. So, and I'll probably actually pick up some more aquatic plants and start planting in here, because our fish population is so healthy right now. So anyways, guys, I got a lot of videos coming out now that we're getting this house thing wrapped up on the other house. I'll have time to actually do them. I've got like 4 videos all stacked up on a computer that I just can't get to. So hit subscribe, and I'll do my best to get them out for you. Dot.